At night here, it was a lawless place. Dark clouds kept churning in the gloomy sky. A drop of acid rain finally fell from the clouds. It kept swaying in the strong wind and finally landed on black iron pot. Positioned beneath the pot was a sturdy tree branch, providing support. Beneath this pot was a black dead rat. The young Renzayasu was lying on the ground in the wilderness. He frowned and thought to himself, what bad luck? Acid rain began before I even caught anything. If this goes on, Lu Yuan and I will starve from hunger. Even a sparrow will do. Suddenly, the sound of flapping wings filled the air, causing Renzayasu's eyes to widen in alarm. He immediately thought, something's here? It's really a sparrow. However, the large bird had spotted him lying on the ground and launched an attack, its sharp claws aimed at him. Renzayasu swiftly recognized the danger and dodged the incoming assault, then made a dash toward the nearby iron pot. He grabbed the iron pot, quickly assessed the situation, and couldn't help but think, it's so fast. Without hesitation, he swung the iron pot, striking the bird with a solid hit that sent it tumbling to the ground. Capitalizing on the moment, Renzayasu closed the distance between himself and the fallen bird. He seized the sparrow by its neck, and with a powerful twist, he snapped its neck, causing it to stop moving. Renzayasu said, "Whew! I finally caught something after waiting the entire night. It's still early, so I will head to Old Wang's grocery store to sell this bird. It will probably fetch us enough food to last a few days." Suddenly, there was a loud thud in his head. Renzayasu knelt down on the ground. Renzayasu said, "Crap, why did it have to occur now? It used to always happen at midnight. Why is it happening earlier today?" Ever since escaping from the wolf pack that day, this condition would occur often. Everyone from the town's marketplace said that the headache was just an after effect of that day. Only I know that this is not pain but pure chaos. Wait, what's going on? I can still sense things this time? The black fog in his mind had actually opened up, revealing a palace. He opened the door and go inside the palace and check his surrounding. And thought himself, where am I? Then he see a table in the center of palace. And thought, what is that on the table? He feel pain again. While outside, a person looking at the bird while hiding behind the tree. Renzayasu opened his eyes. And thought, did I already regain consciousness? Oh no, it's pouring even harder. I need to leave quickly. While when Renzayasu picked up the sparrow and his large iron pot, robber show up and said, "Give me that sparrow." However, before this person could finish his sentence, he saw a huge iron pot approaching him from afar and smacking him in the face. Robber said, "I don't understand. How did I become the victim? What did he go through?" His move was sharp and strong. Window pop-up showing information, mission, gift the sparrow to someone else. Renzayasu thought, what is that? Turn his head and see robber sitting on the ground while crying. He approached him and said, "Do you want this sparrow?" Robber said, "Yes, I do." Renzayasu said, "Here you go." Window pop-up showing information, mission accomplished. The unfamiliar and neutral voice sounded again. Quest complete. Awarded basic skill duplication scroll. You can learn other people's abilities. Renzayasu was stunned for a moment. He could clearly feel a piece of craft paper appearing in his mind. Did the skill duplication scroll mean that he could use it to directly copy other people's abilities? Hunting? Survival? Or something else? The robber hugged the large sparrow tightly in his arms and was about to say some words of gratitude. "You're a good person." Before he could finish speaking, he watched helplessly as Renzayasu dragged the sparrow away again and swaggered off. And he said, "I was just kidding." Robber looked at Renzayasu's back as he going away, and said, "What the hell? What kind of a person was that? People's morals really are declining every day." As Renzayasu passed by the small road in town, he saw the towering stronghold walls not too far away. When he looked up, it felt like he could not see the end of the sky. It was an oppressive feeling. There weren't many earthen and stone buildings in town. Most of them were shacks. Renzayasu, who had been quite relaxed, suddenly became vigilant after he entered town. The atmosphere on the street became heavy. It was as though there were some dangers hidden in those shacks. The first thing Renzayasu learned while living here was not to trust anyone, except Yen Liuyuan. Whispers came from the people standing nearby shacks by the road. Renzayasu actually caught another prey. He even showed a bone knife from his waist. But when Renzayasu showed his bone knife, the restless people calmed down. As one individual began to approach Zaisu, he was abruptly halted by the person who he had whispered earlier. He said, "Don't provoke him." A voice ended the person approach. It sounded like someone knew something about Ren Zaiu's past. He's gotta have a few screws loose. The closer he got to the stronghold, the cleaner, neater, and wealthier the place looked. The people who lived here were more or less related to the people in the stronghold. Perhaps they were good at bootlicking, or perhaps they had relatives living in the stronghold. But no matter what, these refugees were collectively referred to as contaminated people, so they could not enter the stronghold. Ren Zaisu walked into a room with the words market written on the door. At market shop, Ren Zaisu threw the sparrow on the glass counter. How much money can I get for this? He is stunned for a moment. Don't be so rough, be gentle. This glass is very expensive, Old Wang said with a pained expression. Ren Zaisu glanced with angry expression to Wang. There are several items on display, price 20 per piece, 20 won for one, 1,500 per piece. Old Wang weighed the sparrow and said it is 1.8 kilograms. Not bad, Zaisu. This moment, the abacus in Old Wang's hand started making clanking noises. His withered hands were like clockwork as he counted on the abacus, and said, I am in a good mood today, so going by 400 won per kilogram, I will give you 700 for this sparrow. Ren Zaisu said too little. Old Wang said the most I can pay is 800. Meat may be scarce in the stronghold, but everything has a fixed price. We need to go by the rules. Ren Zaisu said it is almost winter and there are fewer sparrows now. No less than 900. Old Wang shakes his head no more than 800. And said, hey, where are you going? Ren Zaisu said I am going to check the price at Old Li's place. Old Wang said let's negotiate. How much do you want for it? Ren Zaisu said we will talk again after I go check Old Li's price. Old Wang said you said 900 earlier? 900 it is then. We cannot be delaying Liu Yuan's school tuition, right? And thought someone from the stronghold came by steal this deal when it is right in front of me. Ren Zaisu said what did you say a bit earlier? Old Wang said we cannot be delaying Liu Yuan's. Ren Zaisu said the one before that. Old Wang said how much do you want for it? Ren Zaisu said 1,200. Old Wang was speechless. Ren Zaisu said yes or no. If not, I will go to Old Li's place. After a while, Old Wang's heart ached as he counted the money. He dipped his saliva in his hand and counted it over and over again, afraid that he would make a mistake. The final price was 1,198 won. Zaisu. This is all I have. Ren Zaisu said oh, then I will let it slide this time. And then he see a coat and said give me a coat Liu Yuan can wear. Old Wang said you are not going to buy one for yourself? You know that I sell these coats at their original price. This one's 490. I do not profit off of them, since one less person frozen to death means one more person I can buy from. Ren Zaisu said I am not cold. How much for the antibiotics? Old Wang said 210 per pill. You need to take it for 3 days in a row. I will just charge you 620 for 3 pills and give you an application of povidone iodine for free. Ren Zaisu said never mind. Infections are rare in the winter anyway. Old Wang said Zaisu, next time, try not to kill the sparrow. Some wealthy people in the stronghold like to keep them as pets. Ren Zaisu said sure, but you are gonna have to pay more. A little later, Ren Zaisu lifted the curtain of his house. The warmth inside made his body feel less stiff. Yen Liu Yuan, who was sitting in the shack doing his homework, looked up and saw Ren Zaisu returning. He was pleasantly surprised. Liu Yuan said brother, you are back. Ren Zaisu said how is the homework coming along? Liu Yuan said fine. It's just that I think it's more useful for me to go hunting with you instead of attending classes. When can we finally go hunting together? Ren Zaisu said there's always the risk of dying if you go hunting. Don't you think studying physics and chemistry is much better than hunting? Knowledge is essential. Do you ever notice that whenever there's unrest, no one dares to target the teacher? And thought it's a shame that the tuition is too expensive. Or else, I would have liked to attend school too. I saved a part of the sparrow before selling it. I will make you some soup with this. Liu Yuan said brother, your arm. Ren Zaisu said it's just a small injury. Here, eat up. Liu Yuan said I do not want it. You need it more than me since you're hurt. Ren Zaisu said I'm not hungry. Just a little soup is enough for me. Liu Yuan said I don't want it. That's not a small injury at all. A few days ago, I heard that someone died due to an infection. Ren Xiaosu said why are you crying? If we're trying to survive in this world, we can't shed tears. This world doesn't believe in tears. Look at the people around us. How many of them do you think are actual decent human beings? What if someone comes in and stabs us in the middle of the night, and you can't defend yourself because you are starving? I am making you go to school because you have a special ability. If you study well, you won't need to hunt in the wilderness from dawn to dusk as I do. Yan Liuyuan suddenly took the soup from Ren Xiaosu and wolfed them down. His tears did not fall in the end. Ren Xiaosu said you are normally full of mischief when we're outside, so how come you're so uptight at home? Eat up. After you're full, try on the new coat I bought you. Liuyuan said brother, what about you? Ren Xiaosu said don't worry about me. And after laying in bed thought that reminds me. What's with that palace I saw today? And close his eyes. The palace appeared again. He opened the palace gate. Inside the circular palace, the walls were lined with old wooden cabinets. It was like a huge showroom. However, the walls were shrouded in a black fog, so it was impossible to touch the wall. He could not tell if this was his imagination or if there was some other reason. There was only a table in the middle of the hall. On the table, there was a brass typewriter that had been obsolete since before the cataclysm. It was the type that made clicking sounds as it typed. There were only 24 brass keys on this typewriter. Each key was engraved with a word: fair, righteous, sincere, honest, friendly, kind, rich, strong. It could be said to have a very positive energy. However, the typewriter seemed to be stuffed with an endless supply of craft paper. Furthermore, it would click on its own even without anyone hitting the brass keys. Now, there were 2 lines of small words that had appeared in the afternoon. Mission: give your catch to someone else. Mission completed. Reward: basic skill duplication scroll. Can learn other people's abilities. But why did it want him to give his catch to someone else? Did this typewriter want him to be a good person? To be a good person in this world where morality was a luxury? At this moment, the rain stopped. The sound of footsteps came from outside the curtain of the shack. The boots had a unique slippery feel on the muddy road after the rain. A corner of the curtain was lifted, but before the person outside could completely lift the curtain, Yan Liuyuan's bone knife was already pressed against the person's neck. It was a beautiful face. Outside the door was a beautiful woman. Liu Yuan said, Big Sister Xiao? She said, Liu Yuan, you're still awake? Where is Xiaosu? I heard he is injured. Liu Yuan said. A sparrow scratched his arm. With a concerned expression, Xiao gazed at Xiaosu, who was peacefully asleep on a bed crafted from straw. Big sister, Xiao, you're 8 years older than my brother. You don't have to look after him so much. Xiao said I see both of you as my younger brothers. Xiao had a feeling that Yan Liuyuan did not like her very much. Xiao said, it's fine, I'm leaving now. When your brother wakes up, tell him I came by. Liu Yuan said sure. After Xiao left, Ren Xiaosu's voice suddenly rang out from behind Yan Liuyuan. Don't bully big sister Xiao all the time. Things aren't easy for her either. Liu Yuan said she's dirty. I caught her smoking a few days ago. You can only get cigarettes from the Stronghold factory. She probably got them from being with random men. I'm guessing that she's approaching you because you always bring something back from hunting. Ren Xiaosu said, and who's clean? If you want to survive in this world, you can't stay clean. We're being forced to do all of this. Just turn her down instead of bullying her. Liu Yuan said all right. Brother, didn't you go to sleep? Why were you awake? Ren Xiaosu said I was thinking about things. I might possess some kind of ability too. Liu Yuan said you're saying. Ren Xiaosu said I'm not sure though. I'll have to try it out. And recall the memory of past word has been around that some people possess special abilities. I didn't believe it until I met Liu Yuan. Liu Yuan said I hope I can catch something today. His ability is luck. But after wishing for something, there's a rebound. Liu Yuan would usually get a fever. Liu Yuan said brother, look. It's a shooting star. Ren Xiaosu said don't make wishes carelessly. What if it rebounds again? Liu Yuan said fine. Say, brother. Why do shooting stars come and go so quickly? What if people can't make a wish in time? Ren Xiaosu said isn't that easy? It goes by quickly because it doesn't want to listen to anyone's wishes. The next day the school was the cleanest and neatest place in town. It was also the only residence that had its own courtyard. In the classroom, the teacher was holding a book. There was only one teacher in the school, and his name was Zhang Jinglin. Teacher said, today, we will be discussing technology during the age of civilization. Does everyone know what technology is? Lu Yuan said no. Mr. Zhang said, then be quiet and listen to me speak. I'll be using examples to explain what technology is. Ren Xiaosu, who was on top of the wall outside the window hearing the teacher lecture. Mr. Zhang said, all right, we'll stop here for now. You can all have your lunch now. He directed his gaze toward the spot where Ren Xiaosu had been positioned, attentively listening to the lecture. Mr. Zhang said, starting from today, you can listen to my lessons at the door, but you're not allowed to enter the classroom. Ren Xiaosu said, yes. Thank you, sir. During lunch, the two of them went to the backyard of the school. Mr. Zhang was eating stir-fried cabbage. Ren Xiaosu took the initiative to pass a cigarette to Mr. Zhang with a smile. Ren Xiaosu said gratefully, thank you, sir, for letting me attend the lecture. Mr. Zhang said, this is a cigarette. Ren Xiaosu said, you allow me to listen to your lessons without paying tuition. I should at least show my gratitude. Zhang Jinglin lit the cigarette with a match he used to light his own fire. Then, he exhaled a mouthful of smoke. There aren't many students like you who like to listen to lectures. If you want to attend, go ahead. From now on, you'll stand at the door, but you're not allowed to enter the classroom, Mr. Zhang said. In this chaotic world, students like you, who enjoy attending lessons, are rare. Why do you enjoy listening to the lessons? Ren Xiaosu said, because there's nothing wrong with learning more. Right? Plus, you're the most respected person around here. With your status, no one will steal crops from your garden. Am I right? Sir, I have a question. Mr. Zhang said, what is it? Ren Xiaosu said, you said that before the cataclysm, humans had a lot of technology. So why did everything disappear? Mr. Zhang said it was all lost through the generations. After the cataclysm, people were happy to just survive. Why would they bother to gain knowledge? Ren Xiaosu said, but some information must have remained, right? Mr. Zhang, while looking at Stronghold, said, yeah, but only a few people possess such knowledge. Ren Xiaosu said, the Stronghold. If that's the case, why don't we tear the wall down? Most wild beasts won't attack people on their own. If everyone lived together, the wolves won't dare to do anything even without the Stronghold. Plus, if the Stronghold is destroyed, doesn't that mean more people will gain access to the lost information? Doesn't that mean we can rebuild civilization? Mr. Zhang said, as long as danger exists outside, the refugees must depend on the Stronghold to make a living. In that way, the Stronghold will gain a large force of cheap labor. The organizations behind the Stronghold won't let the wall fall. Why would those who profit behind the walls give up a stronghold? That gives them a natural class superiority? And thought, I'll smoke the rest later. And said, all right, don't ask anymore. It's time for class. And thought again, can this guy turn his head away so I can hide the remaining cigarette? Mr. Zhang said, I am going to change. The ones I am wearing right now reek of cigarettes, and that's not good for the students. Ren Xiaosu said, then it's all right for me to smell it? You didn't ask me to stand further away. Window pop-up showing information, mission. The yearning for knowledge is never wrong, but the ones who learn must teach it to others. Following the lunch break, both the teacher and the students returned to the classroom, and, true to his promise, Ren Xiaosu positioned himself at the front door. Mr. Zhang said, it's now time for survival class? Don't think that danger is far away. Right now, you're all being protected by your parents. But when you become an adult, you'll need to learn how to protect yourself. We'll be discussing what to do if you encounter wolves in the wilderness. You there, tell us what to do when you encounter a pack of wolves in the wild. Ren Xiaosu said, me, if I encounter a pack of wolves, then I'll try to choose an upland. The wide field of vision along with the greenery and wind will make it an auspicious burial place. Mr. Zhang was speechless after hearing Ren Xiaosu, while Zhang Jinglin was speechless at Ren Xiaosu's answer. He did not know Ren Xiaosu was also puzzled. Hadn't he already taught everyone what he knew? Why hadn't the quest been completed yet? Could it be that there was something wrong with the knowledge I taught? Then he said, sir, you probably haven't encountered wild wolves before. Not to mention a wolf pack. the outcome will be the same even. If you encounter a lone wolf, there's basically no chance of surviving. So, the best choice would be to choose a burial place. Mr. Zhang was impressed by Ren Xiaosu's answer, and said you may sit in the classroom for future lessons. Also, you'll be teaching the survival lessons. Ren Xiaosu said me? Thank you, sir. Mission accomplished. Awarded 1.0 strength. He had completed another quest and obtained 1.0 strength. This was a very intuitive number. But Ren Xiaosu could feel his body even more intuitively. This was because he could even feel the muscles under his clothes slightly bulging. This was truly a supernatural phenomenon. No one could suddenly gain additional muscle strength in the short span of 0.1 seconds. Now, Ren Xiaosu was certain that the palace in his mind was indeed a unique ability. This made Ren Xiaosu feel ecstatic. In fact, he should have been happy a long time ago, but he was afraid that it was fake. A hunter must be very familiar with his own body. He must know how heavy he can carry, and he must also know how fast and fierce his punches and knives are. So Ren Xiaosu immediately evaluated his new power. If a normal adult man had a power of 3.0, then the previous Ren Xiaosu would have a power of 2.5. He was only 17 years old, so it was normal for him to be weaker than an adult. He had survived in town all these years not because he was strong, but because he was ruthless, vigilant, and calm. Now that his strength had surpassed that of a normal adult, it meant that his chances of survival in the wasteland were much higher. When they returned home from school, Yan Liuyuan said excitedly, "Brother, Mr. Zhang allowed you to enter the classroom to attend the lessons and even made you the substitute teacher. Does he plan on making you his successor?" Ren Xiaosu said, "I don't think so. I think he just wants to smoke more cigarettes." Lu Yuan said, "Brother, are you being serious?" Ren Xiaosu said, "But it'd be nice if I do become the teacher. I'll just pass the role to you, since the wilderness is where I truly belong." Lu Yuan thought he's always like that, always giving the best things to me. Ren Xiaosu said it'll be nice to be a teacher, but the role doesn't suit me. Lu Yuan, make sure to study hard and become a knowledgeable person. Got that? When Ren Xiaosu turned around and saw Yan Liuyuan lagging far behind, he snapped. "What are you doing? Hurry up and keep up." Lu Yuan said, "I'm coming." White smoke rose from the shacks outside the stronghold. As the setting sun shone on their backs, it was as though they had never had any worries in life. On the way home, Ren Xiaosu and Yan Liuyuan suddenly saw a group of people coming out of the stronghold. There were about 9 or 10 of them, and all of them were dressed in the mercenary uniforms of Stronghold 113's ruler. Ren Xiaosu thought, "Are they mercenaries?" One mercenary said, "What the hell? I was just thinking about resting for a few days, but they're making us go to the Jing Mountains." Other said, "I know, right? Let's go ask Wang Fugui if there's someone who can guide us there." Ren Xiaosu thought, they're going to the Jing Mountains? These mercenaries from within the stronghold lack actual combat experience. Wandering into the wilderness like that is suicidal. However, he suddenly noticed a unique presence in that group of people. It was a woman wearing a cap that was pressed very low. He could not determine her age. She was wearing relatively normal clothes that were loose but fitting. Ren Xiaosu was paying attention to her because when he saw her, he felt like he had encountered a wild beast in the wilderness. There was something wrong with this group of people. Ren Xiaosu believed in his intuition. Ren Xiaosu and Yan Liuyuan stopped in their tracks and watched from afar. They vaguely understood that this group of people were asking old Wang, who was collecting sparrows from the grocery store, about something. Liuyuan said, "Bro, do you think old Wang would recommend you? Everyone knows that you're familiar with the wastelands." Ren Xiaosu said, "Some people don't make it out of that area alive. Whoever wants to go can go. I'm not. Those people are strange. Make sure to stay away from them." When the both of them arrive at their house, Lu Yuan said, "Bro, how is your injury?" Ren Xiaosu said, "It's fine. Don't lie to me. You tried to endure it last time," Yan Liuyuan said aggrievedly. Ren Xiaosu sighed. "Don't worry, I won't joke around with my life." That Ren Xiaosu really escaped from a wolf pack alive? Old Wang said, "Of course, why would I lie to you guys?" Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu heard footsteps coming from outside. There were a lot of people. It was very rare to see people walking on the streets of town at night. However, Ren Xiaosu quickly guessed who they were and what they were here for. "By the way, Wang Fugui, One of the people in the group said to Old Wang, who was accompanying them, "What do you mean when you said he's mentally ill?" "It's nothing, it's just a passing remark," Old Wang said with a smile, the wrinkles on his face scrunched up together. "It's not a big deal. His illness isn't serious. Look, it's just up ahead. Ren Xiaosu, that Wang Fugui actually recommended me to those people. Xiaosu, hurry up and come out. We have a distinguished guest," Old Wang shouted with a smile. Liu Yuan said, "Bro, what are we going to do?" Ren Xiaosu said, "Stay here, I'll go out for a bit." Suddenly, the curtain of the shack was flung open. Ren Xiaosu happily shook Old Wang's hand and said, "Congratulations, Boss Wang. The father and son are both fine. The baby weighs 3.24 kilograms? Old Wang and the mercenaries were speechless. Band member said also, "What the hell, was father and son safe and sound? Weren't mother and son safe and sound? Wait, you're sick? What the hell are you even saying?" The band members pointed at Ren Xiaosu and looked at Old Wang. "He's already this sick. And you call that fucking fine?" The band member snapped, "Wang Fugui, do you know the consequences of lying to us? Is this what you mean by fine?" As soon as he finished speaking, the band member turned around and left. They were still looking forward to seeing the legendary Ren Xiaosu, but in the end, they ended up encountering a mental patient. It was no wonder everyone in town said that Ren Xiaosu was mentally ill. Wasn't he mentally ill? Old Wang kept apologizing to them. "Although Ren Xiaosu is sick in the head, it's not like that. Let me explain." Ren Xiaosu stood at the entrance of the shack and watched the band leave. Wang Fugui said, "Xiaosu, you betrayed me?" The band member could not be bothered to listen to his explanation. "Wang Fugui, I'll give you 6 hours to find a suitable candidate. We don't need him even if he's not sick. We're leaving at dawn. Don't give us any more trouble." Ren Xiaosu stood at the entrance of the shack happily as if nothing had happened. However, at that moment, the girl with the baseball cap turned around and looked at Ren Xiaosu. Ren Xiaosu suddenly felt like he had been seen through. He did not even see the expression under the baseball cap. But he felt an inexplicable sense of fear. Ren Xiaosu subconsciously used his skill duplication scroll. A voice came from the palace. "Target's skill will be randomly learned. Target's firearms skill has been randomly drawn. Do you want to learn it?" He said yes. Window showing information loading. Firearms maintenance information, maintenance and protection of firearms. Regular maintenance of firearms is necessary to protect them from mildew, corrosion, and rust, ensuring good performance. Clean firearms regularly. Firearms used infrequently should be cleaned once a month. Firearms used frequently should be cleaned daily or weekly. Things to note. Check the firearms magazines and chambers. Check the firearms exterior for any deformities. Check the performance, accessories, and bullets. Ren Xiaosu thought these are all firearms skills. So, does this mean I can really copy other people's skills? Window showing information learning successful. You have learned advanced firearms proficiency. Wait, didn't I get a basic skill duplication? Scroll? How can I learn advanced firearms proficiency? Shouldn't I be able to learn it at the beginner level? Ren Xiaosu asked curiously in his mind. Window showing information. There are only 2 types of skill duplication scrolls. The first one is basic scrolls, allow you to learn any advanced or lower grade skill of your choice. The second one is master scroll, allow you to learn others' master grade skills. After one of your skills have reached advanced grade, there is also a chance of learning the target's superpowers. The voice in the palace answered. Ren Xiaosu was stunned. He could learn other people's supernatural abilities? At that moment, he remembered the girl and suddenly asked, "Can you tell me the level of the girl's firearms proficiency? You can tell me the target you've learned. What level is her firearms proficiency?" The voice in the palace answered. Firearms proficiency of her is perfect. Ren Xiaosu thought that girl has perfect firearms proficiency? But why would she be in the private army? As I thought, there's something wrong with these people. Bro, why do you keep staring at her back? Yen Liuyuan asked while grabbing the back of his upper coat. Ren Xiaosu was immediately turned to look at Yen Liuyuan and was about to assert his authority as an elder brother when the curtain of the shack next door was lifted. A woman's voice asked, "Whose back is it? Where is it?" At this moment, Yen Liuyuan and Ren Xiaosu were stunned. The person who came out of the shack next door was Xiao Yen Liuyuan asked curiously, Sister Xiao, why are you in the shack next door? Xiao ran her fingers through her hair and said with a smile, I'll be moving here from now on. We'll be neighbors. What about the family of 3 who used to live here? Yen Liuyuan asked, where did they go? I swapped places with them, Xiao explained. Yen Liuyuan pulled Ren Xiaosu aside and said in a low voice, Bro, you're still a virgin, aren't you? Bro, Sister Xiao really put in a lot of effort this time. She used to live in a brick house. Ren Xiaosu stared at Yen Liuyuan and said, Liuyuan, you're not young anymore. I'd like to talk to you about this aspect of education. Yen Liuyuan immediately became serious and said, Sure, bro, if there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask. Ren Xiaosu did not say a word. Instead, Ren Xiaosu and Yen Liuyuan smiling at Xiao and went back into the shack. You've really become more capable, Ren Xiaosu said. Try not to provoke your sister Xiao. Don't try to pull any strings. We can't even settle down ourselves, so why would we have the time to care about others? Hey, brother, look, there are 2 potatoes and 3 pills hidden under the chair. Are these the anti-inflammatory drugs you wanted to buy today? It looks the same. Yen Liuyuan said in surprise, did you put it there? I didn't put them there. Ren Xiaosu shook his head and sized up the 3 pills. They are indeed ordinary anti-inflammatory drugs. Liuyuan said with his voice a little low. He asked curiously, what's the matter? Ren Xiaosu said, do you remember that when I was attacked by the wolves last year, someone secretly gave us a few pills to help me survive? Yen Liuyuan asked. I remember. I've been looking for this person. Ren Xiaosu said. At that time, the place where the pills were placed was exactly the same as today. Yen Liuyuan said, then it must be Sister Xiao who put it there. I only told her that you were injured. Ren Xiaosu fell into deep thought. At this moment, a voice came from outside the shack. It was directed at her new neighbor, Xiao. Xiao, I only found out you've moved here when I went to your place to look for you tonight. I brought you cigarettes. Ren Xiaosu and Yen Liuyuan looked at each other and frowned. Xiao said, I won't do that anymore. Haha. The man voice laughed like he had heard something funny. If you don't do that, what will you eat and drink? Who's going to give you cigarettes to smoke in the future? Yen Liuyuan looked at Ren Xiaosu, but Ren Xiaosu was still frowning. He said softly, Bro, help her. Ren Xiaosu stood up, removed his bone knife from his calf, and walked out of the shack while holding it upside down. Let go of me, Xiao said with voice filled with anger. The 2 of them have gotten into a physical altercation. With a ripping sound, her clothes were torn. At this moment, in the palace in Ren Xiaosu's mind, the brass typewriter's keys were pressed down one by one. As words were written on the craft paper, a voice came from the majestic palace. Quest, help. He sneered in his mind and interrupted the voice from the palace. Even without this quest, I'll still help her. From the moment Ren Xiaosu left the shack, with the knife to the moment he rushed in front of the man, only 1 or 2 seconds had passed. Ren Xiaosu did not say any threatening words like let go of her or try touching her again because he knew any unnecessary actions would only lead to failure. What he wanted to do was to use the simplest method to solve the simplest problem. When Ren Xiaosu's slender but muscular figure charged at the man like a cheetah, the man quickly drew his knife from his waist and slashed at him. Everyone in town would carry a weapon for self-defense. The man had a sneer in his mind because he was almost a head taller than Ren Xiaosu. Besides, he was wielding a real iron weapon and not some bone knife. Ren Xiaosu's saber was like a ravine on the ground, slanting upwards and cutting a crack in the dark night. With a crack, the bone saber and the iron weapon collided. The man were surprised to see the 2 sabers shatter into 2 pieces at the same time. He thought only the bone saber would shatter. In an instant, while the man was still in a daze, Ren Xiaosu had already thrown the bone saber away without any hesitation. This action was done in one go, as though Ren Xiaosu already knew the bone saber would shatter, so he had other plans from the beginning. He grabbed the man's wrist and smashed his other fist into the man's armpit nerve like a cannon. The man wanted to break free, but he suddenly realized this young man was much stronger than him. How was that possible? How old was this young man? This young man's height only reached his neck. But when the man saw the muscles on Ren Xiaosu's neck, he realized they were as tough as steel. That was his strength. Ren Xiaosu looked at Xiao. Who is he? He's a foreman at the coal mine. He was the one who led the murder of the man who was stabbed to death in town last night. He heard that the man had a habit of saving money, and it just so happened that he owed money to the casino, so he got the idea to kill him. Xiao recounted what the man had bragged about yesterday. Ren Xiaosu walked to the side of the road and picked up the man's metal weapon. Then he walked back to the man's side and looked down at him from above. He calculated the time and estimated that the man would be able to move again in at most 4 or 5 seconds. Suddenly, the palace that had been silent for a long time spoke again. Mission. Give your enemy a way out. But as soon as the voice from the palace finished speaking, Ren Xiaosu squatted down and thrust the metal weapon into the man's abdomen. The sharp sound of the weapon tearing through leather made the scalps of all the bystanders and eavesdroppers tingle. Then the man's blood started to gush out. You still have about 3 minutes left. If you get stitched up at the clinic in town in time, you might still have a chance of surviving, Ren Xiaosu said calmly. When the man heard that, he ignored the pain and immediately got up and ran to the clinic without saying a word. Mission complete. Reward, Basic Skill Scroll. Mission complete. You have received a Basic Skill Mastery Scroll as a reward. Due to the loss of your weapon, a special side quest has been activated. Before Ren Xiaosu could finish listening, he was stunned. The first quest should have been to save Xiao, so he could understand that he had completed it. But he did not expect that he would also complete the second quest. How on earth did the palace determine that? Next to him, Yan Liuyuan asked curiously, Bro, you're letting him go just like that? What if he recovers after getting stitched up at the clinic and comes looking for you to take revenge? He's not a good person. Ren Xiaosu closed his eyes. That crappy clinic in town doesn't know how to stitch things up. Bro, I'm relieved to see you being so ruthless. Ren Xiaosu walked over and picked up his bone blade. This bone blade had accompanied him for more than a year and had finally died of old age. He turned to look at Xiao. Xiao looked a little delicate in the dark. Actually, Xiao was 8 years older than Ren Xiaosu, but she looked like she was 8 years younger than Ren Xiaosu. Ren Xiaosu said bluntly, Can you quit smoking? Xiao nodded vigorously. That stuff isn't that addictive. It's probably just a little poppy shell added to it. Old Wang said that the ratio is very low, so it's still possible to quit smoking if you want to, Ren Xiaosu said as he walked to the entrance of Xiao's shack and crouched down. He fiercely stabbed half of his bone blade into the soil, leaving only a small part of it exposed. In town, this half of the bone blade was like a symbol of determination. No one was willing to offend this ruthless person, Ren Xiaosu. Ren Xiaosu turned to Xiao and said, But there's something I have to say in advance. Although I'm very handsome, we cannot be in a relationships. Xiao looked stunned. I only treat you as a younger brother. This time, it was Ren Xiaosu's turn to be stunned. Ha 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 ha, that's so awkward. Ren Xiaosu immediately led Yan Liuyuan back to his shack. As he walked, he glared at Yan Liuyuan. You're the fucking one who's been nagging me all day? When Xiao saw Ren Xiaosu and Yan Liuyuan's expression, she immediately laughed. It was as though her bad mood had vanished. Ren Xiaosu closed his eyes to carefully look at the palace and the words that had just been typed on the typewriter. This side quest was quite interesting. What attracted Ren Xiaosu to the palace was not the 2 skill duplication scrolls, but the side quest that the palace mentioned at the end. Since it was a side quest, it should either be a side quest that was not too important or would only be temporary. But Ren Xiaosu clearly heard the palace say, due to your lack of a weapon, so this quest was related to a weapon, right? Ren Xiaosu looked at the craft paper on the typewriter. Due to your loss of your weapon, you have started a special, side quest, get thanked sincerely 100 times to unlock a weapon. Gratitude can be exchanged for items too. Ren Xiaosu's expression became strange. Why does this side mission feel so weird? It was easy to collect gratitude, but the problem was that it had to be sincere. It seemed that he had not saved an ingrate. Ren Xiaosu sighed. The palace's judgment should not be wrong. He continued to look at the vellum page and was surprised to see that some words were being refreshed from time to time. Gratitude received from Li Xiao, +1 at this time. There was a line of small words on the leather paper, unlocked weapon, 1/100. And gratitude could be used as currency? The key was what he could buy with it. Ren Xiaosu felt that it was a pity. It would be great if he could collect negative emotion points. He could have filled up the entire town's negative emotion points in minutes. Ren Xiaosu suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Yen Liuyuan. Liuyuan, say thank you to me right now. Yen Liuyuan was dumbfounded. Bro, don't be like that. I'm a little scared. Scared my ass. Ren Xiaosu snapped, hurry up and say it. Yen Liuyuan thought for a moment and said, thank you for taking care of me all this time. Gratitude received from Yen Liuyuan, +1 Ren Xiaosu beamed. Was it really that easy? Come on, say thank you a few more times, Ren Xiaosu said. Yen Liuyuan was speechless and said thank you. This time, Ren Xiaosu was disappointed. It looked like he could not repeat the rewards. The focus was still on the word sincerity. He raised his head and looked at Yen Liuyuan unhappily. You're not being sincere. Yen Liuyuan said thank you again. No, your emotions aren't right. Again. Yen Liuyuan said thank you. It's still not right. You need to build up your emotions first. Come on, that's right. Try it again. It'll work if you're sincere. Try it. Again. Add a little more emotion to your voice this time. Yen Liuyuan nearly broke down. His mouth was dry as he said, bro, is this your power? This power of yours is quite taxing on your throat. That night, Ren Xiaosu tried it out on Yen Liuyuan for half the night. In the end, he only managed to get a single thank you from Yen Liuyuan. Let's see what I can exchange it for first. And this thank you turned into 2 coins. A heart was engraved on each coin, and the reverse side was engraved with the words, a thankful heart, thankful to you. Follow me for life, and give me courage to be myself. A thankful heart, thankful for fate. Though seasons may pass, I will treasure it all the same. Ren Xiaosu smacked his lips. It was pretty lame. At that moment, the display cabinets that were originally shrouded in black fog around the palace changed. Just to the left of the typewriter, the black fog on one of the cabinets finally dissipated, revealing the vending machine inside. Ren Xiaosu was stunned for a moment. He wondered what this thing was for. This was the first time he had seen it. Such things didn't exist in the outside world. However, he understood the words on the vending machine, coin slot. There were no other options. There was only a slot for coins. There was no need to think about anything else. He just needed to insert the coin. With a clang, the coin engraved with the heart fell into the machine. The machine rumbled as it started to turn. Then, a small bottle that was not even the size of a palm rolled out. Ren Xiaosu took it out. There was only one word on the bottle, medicine. No, can you at least tell me what kind of illness this thing is for? After he opened his eyes, with a thought, the medicine bottle appeared in his hand. When Yen Liuyuan saw this, he was stunned. Bro, are you performing magic? How did a bottle suddenly appear in your hand? Ren Xiaosu ignored him. Instead, he decisively tore off the cloth that was used to bandage his wound, revealing the infected wound inside. Ren Xiaosu picked up the medicine bottle and dug out a little of the ointment with his index finger. He carefully applied it to his wound. The medicine bottle was not big and very shallow. It was probably only enough for 3 doses. After applying the ointment, Ren Xiaosu regretted it a little. The medicine bottle only had the word medicine written on it. What if it was poison? However, what he was worried about did not happen. When the ointment was applied to his wound, Ren Xiaosu immediately felt the burning pain in his wound disappear. Ren Xiaosu made a rough estimate. If this bottle of ointment was used as an anti-inflammatory medicine, he would need to take anti-inflammatory medicine for 3 days consecutively. However, this ointment would be effective after 1 dose. An anti-inflammatory pill was worth 200, so the value of this bottle of ointment would be in 1000. I need to find a way to get gratitude quickly. The next day, at dawn, when Ren Xiaosu and Yen Liuyuan arrived at the school, Zhang Jinglin was already present in front of class. He saw Ren Xiaosu and Yen Liuyuan. He nearly jumped in fright. Both of them had dark circles under their eyes and looked like ghosts. You two are? Zhang Jinglin said hesitantly. My brother insisted on. Yen Liuyuan explained. But before Yen Liuyuan could finish speaking, Ren Xiaosu covered the mouth Yen Liuyuan's and interrupted him. Ren Xiaosu said nothing. It's nothing, we just didn't sleep well. Oh. Zhang Jinglin was not in the mood to ask about Ren Xiaosu's private matters. He asked, have you thought about what you're going to teach today? Today is your first day as a substitute teacher. I've thought about it. Ren Xiaosu said. When it came to the last class, as Zhang Jinglin was worried about Ren Xiaosu and worried that he did not have much teaching experience. He sat in the last row of the classroom to hold the fort for Ren Xiaosu. When Ren Xiaosu walked up to the lecture, the class monitor immediately shouted, "Stand up." Then all of the students said loudly, "Good morning, teacher." At this moment, Ren Xiaosu suddenly said, "Do you think it's hard to teach everyone? Everyone can still sit in class, but teacher has to stand for the entire day. Under such circumstances, how could the students say it was not hard for them?" With Zhang Jinglin around, they could only say it was hard for them. Ren Xiaosu continued, "Then shouldn't you thank your teachers?" "Yes," the students answered in unison. Yan Liuyuan's expression changed drastically as he screamed in his mind, "It's coming, it's coming?" Ren Xiaosu nodded in satisfaction. "Then in the future, there's no need to say good morning, teacher. Just say thank you. Teacher, haha, it's easier to trick students into thanking me?" Zhang Jinglin was dumbfounded the entire time. He had no idea what Ren Xiaosu was up to. "Come, everyone, sit down. Let's give it a try," Ren Xiaosu said with a smile. "Stand up." "Thank you, teacher," the students said in unison again. However, when Ren Xiaosu used his inner sight on the typewriter in the palace, he was filled with regret. None of these little bastards sincerely thanked teacher? Was it so difficult to sincerely thank the gardener who taught and educated people these days? No, he had to think of another way. His first attempt had failed. Ren Xiaosu had heard a saying before, life is not going according to one's wishes 9 out of 10 times. It meant that out of 10 things that happened in life, 89 out of 10 would not go according to one's wishes. But even so, wouldn't life be easy? Of course not. But today, in order to gain the students' gratitude, Ren Xiaosu taught them almost everything he knew about surviving in the wilderness. The lesson went all the way to 5 p.m. Wild rabbits will not attack humans unprovoked, but they come up to your knees, and are very strong. The students looked at him eagerly and thought to themselves, this bastard is too good at teaching. You must understand that it is very tough to survive in the wild. Therefore, you need to. One of the students could no longer hold it in. "Teacher, son, it's going to get dark if you don't end class soon. It won't be safe in town then." Ren Xiaosu was taken aback. He thought to himself, "It's fine if you don't thank me. But you're even planning to dismiss the teacher." However, he was a sensible person and knew that safety came first. So after taking a look at the sky, Ren Xiaosu waved his hand helplessly and said, "Class dismissed." "Thank you, teacher. Thank you, teacher." The students swarmed out of the school. 2 of them even thanked Ren Xiaosu for saying class was dismissed. They were really grateful to him. If the class didn't end soon, they would puke. Ren Xiaosu was overjoyed when he saw that there were really 2 more gratitude coins in his palace. How could he know why the students were thanking him? He only felt that he had taught well. Ren Xiaosu thought it looked like his painstaking efforts had not gone to waste. After giving a lecture for so long, the students were still very grateful to him. On the way back, Lu Yuan said, "Can you not drag the lesson out next time?" Ren Xiaosu said, "No, I'm willing to devote my life to education." "What's speaking for a while more?" Lu Yuan said, "Please, what you're doing is injuring the flowers of our nation." Ren Xiaosu said, "What do you know? I'm not dragging out the lesson, what I'm dragging out is money, the sincere gratitude of my students." Lu Yuan said, "Huh? Brother, look at that." Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, "Isn't that old Lu? He's become a guide?" Wang Fugui said, "Xiaosu, you heartless ingrate. I recommended you for such a good job, but you rejected it." Ren Xiaosu said, "How do you know for sure that it's a good job?" Wang Fugui said, "You don't know this, but there certainly is a divide between rich and poor people in the stronghold. The poor have absolutely no way of exiting the stronghold. Only people of importance can enter and exit the stronghold at will." Ren Xiaosu thought, looks like these high walls block not only the people outside, but those within them too. Those within the high walls can't exit easily, yet the people outside do everything they can, even risking their lives to enter. Wang Fugui said, "Sai, I heard the staff say they were looking for a good guide from the town to bring into the stronghold. So, if there's ever a need, they'll have someone they can use. I don't know how long it'll take for such an opportunity to come about again." Lu Yuan said, "Bro, why don't you go talk to the people from the band again? You're way stronger than old Lu." Ren Xiaosu said, "Stop blabbering. Let's go home." But when they Passed by the pawn shop at the city gate, Yan Liuyuan suddenly tugged at Ren Xiaosu's sleeve. He pointed at the pawn shop, and Ren Xiaosu saw Sister Xiao. Lu Yuan said, "Bro, isn't that Sister Xiao?" Ren Xiaosu and Yan Liuyuan got closer. They heard Sister Xiao say to the shopkeeper, "My earrings are very valuable. Can't you give me a little more?" The shopkeeper looked at Sister Xiao with a frivolous smile. He said, "You actually don't have to pawn your things, so why? Where are your men?" Ren Xiaosu counted out 620 won from his pocket and stuffed it into Sister Xiao's hands. "You don't have to sell anything. This is the money for the 3 anti-inflammatory pills you gave me last night." Li Xiao was stunned for a moment. "What do you mean?" Li Xiao wanted to give the money to Ren Xiaosu, but Ren Xiaosu said, "I was going to buy medicine anyway, so just accept it. It's not that I don't want to owe you a favor, but we don't have to be so polite in the future. If you hadn't given me medicine, I might have been long dead. Don't worry. In the future, as long as I have meat to eat, you will have soup to drink." "Brother, you're wrong," Yan Liuyuan said softly. "Didn't other people eat meat together? Why did it become like drinking soup with you? Besides, we don't have meat at home now." "Oh." Ren Xiaosu nodded and changed the way he phrased it to Sister Xiao. "In the future, as long as I have soup to drink, you will have to wash the dishes." However, Li Xiao did not mind. "Okay, then I will wash the dishes and clothes for you from now on." Just as Ren Xiaosu and the others started walking, they suddenly heard a cry. "Doctor, please save my husband. Our family won't be able to survive without him." At the entrance of the clinic, a middle-aged woman was kneeling on the ground and kowtowing to the only doctor in town. However, the doctor sneered, "How can you treat a patient if you don't have money?" The woman cried and said, "If you save him, our whole family will thank you for your great kindness." The old doctor was a very kind person when he was still alive. "You're his son, so you must be very kind as well," he said. "My father is kind, but that's his business." The doctor turned around and closed the clinic's door. There was also a man lying next to the woman whose abdomen was bleeding non-stop. Ren Xiaosu did not go forward, nor did he try to be a kind-hearted person. In fact, he could tell that the man was already dead. He just looked at the scene and said calmly, "Liuyuan, remember everything that's happening in front of you. This is reality. The acid rain is here. Hurry up and go home," Ren Xiaosu said expressionlessly. The woman was still crying, but no one cared about them. When they returned to their shack, Yan Liuyuan sat on the bed and suddenly said, "Bro, you want people to sincerely thank you, right? It's quite easy to get gratitude from doctors." When the old doctor was still around, everyone was very grateful to him. "But I don't recommend you to become a doctor. First of all, it's easy for a doctor to be caught in a dilemma. Second of all, you don't know any medical skills." Ren Xiaosu looked at Yan Liuyuan expressionlessly. "Then what are you talking about?" "Wait a minute." Ren Xiaosu suddenly felt like he had missed out on something. Although he did not know any medical skills, he could still learn them. He still had not used the 2 skill duplication scrolls that the palace in his mind had rewarded him with. Wouldn't he be able to learn the other party's medical skills if he used one of them? At this time, Ren Xiaosu was already calculating. "As a doctor, I can both earn money and treat others. Isn't that killing 2 birds with 1 stone?" The next day, Ren Xiaosu did not go to school the moment he woke up. After stuffing 2 mouthfuls of black bread into his mouth, he squatted at the clinic's entrance and waited for it to open. But the clinic was really stubborn. Ren Xiaosu waited until noon, but it still did not open. In the afternoon, when the stronghold's clock struck 2, the young doctor slowly opened the clinic's door from inside and stretched out to bask in the sun. But before he could stretch out, he was shocked by Ren Xiaosu, who was squatting at the door. The doctor was dumbfounded. "Why are you squatting at my door?" Ren Xiaosu said while sitting. "I'm not here to see a doctor. You can carry on with your business. If you want to be treated, you need money. If you don't have money, I won't treat you no matter how long you squat there for." But at this moment, Ren Xiaosu had already quietly used the first skill duplication scroll in his palace. Window showing information: the random copying of the target's skills will commence. The craft paper skill duplication scroll in the palace spontaneously commusted without any fire. In the blink of an eye, it was completely burned. Another window pop-up showing information: the skill scam has been randomly selected. Learn this skill. Yes, no, Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, I'm here to learn medical skills, not to learn to scam. This random skill is too random. This dude is disgusting. Even scamming has become a skill. The doctor felt a little uncomfortable being stared at. Just as he was about to say something, he finally remembered who Ren Xiaosu was. Isn't he famous in town for being ruthless? What does he want? I've never provoked him before. What Ren Xiaosu wanted to know now was how good the other party's medical skills were and whether it was worth it for him to continue learning them. He asked in his mind, what level is this doctor's medical skills at? Window pop-up showing information. You have learned the target's skill, so the information is available. The target does not possess medical skills. Ren Xiaosu said, what? What kind of doctor doesn't have medical skills? Ren Xiaosu flung the hefty black iron pot he had been carrying at the doctor. He had brought the black iron pot along with him when he left in the morning. He said, I've dealt with you for so many years, but you were relying on cheating and scamming to make money? Doctor said, don't spout nonsense. Who have I deceived? I should have checked if it was an auspicious day before going out. Ren Xiaosu thought, looks like I'll have to think about how to become a doctor without learning any medical skills. Then he suddenly looked at his wound. The wound is actually almost completely healed. That's it. I can be a knife wound specialist? When he returned home, Ren Xiaosu hurriedly lifted the curtain and entered. He was surprised to see his sister Xiao sitting on a tattered chair in their shack, mending their clothes. His sister Xiao, why are you here? When sister Xiao saw Ren Xiaosu coming back, she said with a smile, I came in without your permission. Your clothes are all torn, so I'll help you guys sew them up. Ren Xiaosu saw Lu Yuan holding a plate. He said, what's that you're holding? Lu Yuan said, the porridge sister Xiao cooked for us. Ren Xiaosu grabbed Lu Yuan for neck and said, did you thank her yet? Lu Yuan said, not yet. Yan Liuyuan was still very obedient in front of Ren Xiaosu. He said, thank you, sister Xiao. Sister Xiao hurriedly said, don't keep hitting Lu Yuan. Ren Xiaosu said, I can take care of him, but no one will take care of him in the outside world. Sister Xiao said, fine, fine, let's eat. The two of you are still growing. Ren Xiaosu thought, no one has told us stuff like we're still growing before. Sister Xiao said, what are you standing there for? Help yourselves to some porridge. Then both of them sit and started eating porridge. Growing. Sister Xiao. Ren Xiaosu said, you're really good at sewing clothes. When we open our knife wound clinic, why don't you come and help us? Knife wound clinic. Sister Xiao was stunned. Why do you suddenly want to open a knife wound clinic? Ren Xiaosu said, you'll know when the time comes. In the dead of night, let's take a look at the result of these few days. I exchanged a gratitude token for a bottle of black medicine yesterday, so I still have 3 left. 1 gratitude token can be exchanged for a bottle of black medicine, and a bottle can treat 3 people. A 1-to-3 ratio will always result in a profit. The more black medicine I exchange, the more gratitude tokens I get. I might be able to unlock my weapon sooner. Not bad, not bad, let's go back to sleep. The next morning, Ren Xiaosu went out early. He did not carry the cauldron today. Lu Yuan said, brother, you must be careful. Ren Xiaosu said, don't worry. While walking, he thought to himself, as the saying goes, whoever stands out will be targeted. The tallest trees will get blown over first, so don't flaunt your wealth. All these sayings tell us not to pretend. Someone who knew him asked, Ren Xiaosu, why are you cutting the grass here? Ren Xiaosu thought, since I have medicine, in order not to be suspected, I need to cut some weeds and pretend that they are herbs, and said, this isn't wild grass, these are herbs. The person who asked the question looked dumbfounded. As someone who grew up in town, how could he not know what these plants were? No one had ever used them as medicinal herbs in the past. Ren Xiaosu said mysteriously, as long as you add them in different proportions, it can be brewed into a medicinal herb that can treat injuries. How else do you think I recovered from my previous injuries? The person who asked the question thought for a long time. Didn't you pull through with sheer willpower? Get lost. Ren Xiaosu said angrily. Ren Xiaosu did not stop and went straight back to his shack. Ren Xiaosu set up the iron pot and started a fire. After adding some water, he pretended to brew the medicinal herbs. In the process of brewing medicine, the biggest cost was actually the water. Water was much more valuable than firewood and weeds. He even purposely lifted the curtain of his shack so that the people in town could see what he was doing. Quite a few people saw Renzayasu brewing the medicine, but no one dared to step forward and ask him about it. Renzayasu was unhappy. He had lifted the curtain so that people could ask him about it. That way, he could promote his medicinal herbs. After waiting for a long time, no one came forward to ask him about it. Renzayasu looked at a thin man who was peeking outside the door with a dark expression. You. The thin man pointed at himself. Me. Yes. Come over here. Renzayasu waited for the man to cautiously approach and said, hurry up and ask me what I'm doing. The thin man was speechless. Go ahead and ask, Renzayasu urged. What are you doing? The thin man asked. After Renzayasu's wish was fulfilled, he immediately put on a smile and said kindly, I'm brewing some medicinal herbs. I usually brew this kind of medicinal herb whenever I'm injured. Not only can it reduce inflammation and relieve pain, but it can also heal wounds quickly. I used to keep this medicine to myself, but I've realized my mistake now and decided to brew it to share with everyone. From today onwards, I'll open a clinic that specializes in treating knife wounds and external injuries. Is there anyone who's injured and would like to be treated? Renzayasu's words stunned the people outside. The person with the hair said who doesn't know that he pulled through with sheer willpower in the past. Other person said like we'd believe he can actually treat us. However, they looked at each other and dispersed. No one was buying it. Renzayasu thought everyone is ignoring me? This won't do. Then he noticed the person he called before standing next him has a wound on his arm. Big brother, did you injure your hand while working? I have some special medicine here. Do you want some? The thin man looked warily at Renzayasu. He felt that Renzayasu's tone was not very serious. There's no need. Renzayasu went up and pressed the man to side. In order to promote his black medicine, Renzayasu had put aside his last principle. I'll treat you for free this time. When Renzayasu freed the man after applying the medicine, he ran away. Lu Yuan asked, bro, did you really give out the medicine for free? Who are you? Renzayasu said, don't ask. Kill yourself before you ask. And thought to himself, nothing starts easy. Those aiming high shouldn't nitpick over the small details. I should be a generous person? Yes, right. This is the philosophy I should follow. The next day at dawn, outside the shack of Renzayasu, when he come out he saw Wang Fugui was waiting at the entrance of the shack with a smile on his face. He said, old Wang, why are you here so early in the morning? I haven't gone sparrow hunting lately. Wang Fugui asked, did you treat Ironhead yesterday? The one that lives on the east side of town? Renzayasu said, oh, he's called Ironhead. His head wasn't made of iron, though. Wang Fugui asked, that medicine, do you still have any? Give it to me, I'll help you sell it. Renzayasu said, no, I can't have a broker take part of the profit. Wang Fugui said, then you can sell me some instead. Renzayasu asked, you aren't injured, so why would you want it? Wang Fugui said, yesterday, Ironhead thought that it was strange, and wanted to know what the medicine you gave him was, so he tried tasting it. Renzayasu asked, can the black medicine be ingested? Wang Fugui said, what did you think? After he took the medicine, he kept his wife up the whole night. That medicine of yours is amazing. And asked, where did you get it? Renzayasu said, it was passed down in my family. And asked, why does a single guy like you need this medicine? Wang Fugui said, you don't have to know about that. Renzayasu said, the price for people I know is 600. I'll buy it. Wang Fugui then counted out 600 won and handed it to Renzayasu. He did not even try to haggle the price down. Wang Fugui suddenly turned around and said to Renzayasu, thanks for this window showing information. Gratitude from Wang Fugui +1. Renzayasu was speechless. The number of gratitude tokens had finally returned to 4. However, the method of obtaining the gratitude tokens was a little different from what Renzayasu had imagined. The small porcelain bottle was handed over from Wang Fugui to the town administrator, who was also one of the people who had come out of the stronghold. The next day, Renzayasu used black thread to embroider the words. He embroidered the words specializing in treating knife wounds, a benevolent doctor, and thought to himself, and just like that, the clinic was set up. At this moment, 3 persons ran over from the other side of the dirt road. All of them was bleeding. The person on right back side said, I can't, it hurts too much. I can't run anymore. The person on the left with a stick said, "Hurry, we're almost at the clinic." At this moment, the long-awaited voice from the palace rang out in his mind. Mission, treat 3 patients. Ren Ziyasu's eyes lit up. I've got business so quickly. However, these persons didn't even look at Ren Ziyasu. At this moment, everyone subconsciously felt that it was better to go to the clinic for treatment. That place was more authoritative. Moreover, everyone's impression of Ren Ziyasu was that he was a medicine seller rather than someone who could treat knife wounds. Ren Ziyasu stood up and said in a melancholic tone, "I'm sorry." After saying that, we see Ren Ziyasu run out. In less than a minute, Ren Ziyasu tied these persons and carrying these persons back. One of the person asked in the angry voice, "What are you doing?" Ren Ziyasu said to the patient in a pleasant tone, "The doctor in that clinic is a swindler. I carried you over to save you, understand?" Ren Ziyasu said, "Sister Ziyao, come and treat them." These persons had lost a lot of blood and did not have much strength left in their bodies. Sister Ziyao asked, "Were you in a gang fight?" The person said, "No, the boiler in the factory exploded. We were able to make it here on our own because we weren't as heavily injured. Some had died on the spot." Ren Ziyasu nodded in silence. These days, no one would be kind enough to take you to the hospital for treatment if you got injured in the factory. What they were thinking was that if you died, all your belongings would belong to them. Ren Ziyasu said, "Come, Sister Ziyao. Sterilize the needle first, then stitch them up." "Do we just sew it?" Sister Ziyao asked timidly. "Yes, it's just like sewing clothes." Ren Ziyasu smiled and said, "It's pretty simple." She said, "All right." Then, the 3 of them saw Sister Ziyao put down the sewing in her hands. She took the needle she used to sew clothes and put it over the fire to burn it. The needle was longer, so she would not burn her hand even if she held the end of the needle. Sister Ziyao mustered up her courage and went to sew one of the men's wounds. As a result, there was a sizzling sound, and a burnt smell wafted from the man's skin. The man asked in a trembling voice, "I can understand that you're using fire to sterilize the needle, but can you wait for the needle to cool down before you sew it?" "It was just a mistake." Ren Ziyasu explained with a smile, "This is also our nurse's first day on the job, so she's not too sure about the procedures. Come, let's continue suturing." "Come, Sister Ziyao, just treat it as sewing clothes." When Sister Ziyao was done suturing, Ren Ziyasu took out a small porcelain bottle and applied it on the first patient's wound. "This medicine of mine is a treasure, so I won't charge you extra. I'll charge you 600 won for it, just like the clinic. Your monthly salary has to be at least 2 to 3,000. You should be able to afford 600 to save your life." He said, "All right. Can you be gentler?" When Ren Ziyasu carried the person and setting him on the bed. At this moment, a patient took advantage of Ren Ziyasu's distraction to get up and run outside. Sister Ziyao reminded Ren Ziyasu. The patient ran away. Ren Ziyasu said, "It's fine. He's still injured, so he can't have run far. I'll catch him and bring him back." When Ren Ziyasu went out to catch the patient, Sister Ziyao looked at the remaining patient and asked gently, "Are you going to run? If you want to run, I'll stitch you up later." "I won't run." The patient closed his eyes and looked determined. "Let's stitch it up." The person who escaped huff said, "Luckily, I can run fast." But Ren Ziyasu were behind him and said, "Where are you going?" "Let's go back," with angry face. This time, Ren Ziyasu did not have to use so much effort to carry the patient back. He could carry him with one hand. Then Sister Ziyao started sew the wound of the 3rd person. Then, Ren Ziyasu heard the notification that the quest had been completed. Mission complete, 1 strength and 1 agility has been rewarded. The man who was treated first said, "Doesn't hurt anymore. This medicine is actually really effective." The voice from the palace rang out again. Mission, treat 10 patients. This time, it was a chain mission. After completing the first one, an even more difficult one appeared. At night, suddenly, several dozen people ran into town and shouted, "This is bad, this is bad. A wolf pack has broken into town." Lu Yuan asked, "Brother, will the wolves come here?" Ren Ziyasu said, "They are more intelligent than you think. They won't take the risk of coming here. They were most likely attracted by the scent of blood from the boiler explosion. Besides, we have the stronghold behind us." Lu Yuan asked, "Brother, how did you survive the wolf pack back then? You've never talked about it before." Then they heard the voice from stronghold behind them. Everyone, assemble, hurry and follow, enemies have appeared outside. Then what are you worried about, brother? Yan Liuyuan was curious. Ren Xiaosu thought for a long time. What if this wall collapses one day? Sister Xiao was taken aback. Will this wall collapse? I don't know. Ren Xiaosu shook his head again. But nothing stays forever in this world. At night, the stronghold's gate suddenly opened. The stronghold's sluice gate rumbled loudly, and several hundred soldiers armed with live ammunition walked out from inside. These were the private troops of the manager of Stronghold 113. This was the first time Ren Xiaosu and Yan Liuyuan had seen so many soldiers coming out of the stronghold. Yan Liuyuan hid in his shack and secretly watched as the private troops marched out of town. He muttered, "Brother, are they carrying guns on their backs?" Ren Xiaosu said, "Don't ask so much." Yan Liuyuan asked, "Do I still have any status in this family?" Ren Xiaosu said, "Don't think too much. Your status in this family is to stay alive." Someone in the private army complained, "Isn't it just a few deaths in the factory? Can't we go tomorrow morning? Why must we kill the wolves tonight?" "Shut up. This is a mission from above." Someone glared at him. "What's there to be afraid of? It's not like the officials can hear us. They're still in bed with the women," the man scolded. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, "The skill mastery scrolls are really useful. I recognize all these guns, and if I manage to get hold of these guns, I will be able to use them immediately." When the footsteps of the private army faded away, Ren Xiaosu suddenly said to Yan Liuyuan, "Go to your sister Xiao's place tonight and stay for a while. Come back when I get back." "Bro, where are you going?" Yan Liuyuan asked in surprise. But as soon as he finished asking, Ren Xiaosu quietly lifted the door curtain and left. At this moment, there was no one around their shack, so no one noticed Ren Xiaosu's whereabouts. Emerging from their shack into the darkness, the doctor wore a stressed expression and lamented, "It's not coming out?" Ren Xiaosu made his way through the darkness. When he got past the doctor, he noticed Ren Xiaosu going out of town. He thought, "Ren Xiaosu? Where is he going at such a late hour?" Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, the factory managers possessed firearms, but they were still attacked by wolves. Perhaps they couldn't get the guns out in time because the wolves were too fast. If that's the case, the guns should still be at the factory. Ren Xiaosu ran at full speed. He was more familiar with this place than the private army. Besides, the private army was walking while he was running. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out in the dark. Then, intense gunfire reverberated in the night sky for a long time, accompanied by the screams of humans. Ren Xiaosu immediately turned around to look at the source of the sound. This was clearly an encounter between the private army and the wolves. Furthermore, many of the private army members were still injured after they opened fire. Wasn't it said that the wolves were afraid of gunshots? Wasn't it said that this was the instinct of wild animals to avoid danger? The battle in the wilderness was very intense. The private army had not expected that they would encounter the wolf pack so early. Those wolves seemed to have been lying in ambush ahead of time. They were fierce and cunning. At first, they thought they could scare off the wolves by firing at them. But they were wrong. This time, the wolves did not panic when they heard the gunshots. When the wolves arrived in front of them, the private army was shocked to find that these wolves were even bigger than they remembered. They were as big as bison. Wait a minute, these wolves attacked the factory first and then stood guard in the path that the private army had to pass through. Why did it seem like their original target was the private army? He did not peek at the scene of the battle up close. He only knew that since the wolves and the private army were fighting, the factory should be safe. Ren Xiaosu ran like a cheetah in the wilderness. This was the first time he was fully experiencing his new strength and dexterity. His muscle fibers tightened over and over again before relaxing again and again. This feeling could only be described as carefree. When he got close to the factory, Ren Xiaosu finally slowed down. He hid in the darkness and approached silently. At this moment, Ren Xiaosu was surprised to discover the corpses of many refugees. It seemed like the refugees were trying to escape into town, but the wolves caught up to them one by one. Only a few lucky ones managed to escape at the expense of their companions. Ren Xiaosu deliberately observed their wounds. It looked like they had all been killed by the wolves biting their necks. The wolves did not eat the corpses either. It seemed like they had left in a hurry. Ren Xiaosu thought for a moment. He did not enter the factory through the main entrance but climbed up the pipes outside the factory. Every time he passed by a window, he would carefully check if there were any survivors inside. When Ren Xiaosu climbed to the top, he felt a chill in his heart. It seemed like there was no one alive in the factory. The wolf pack had swept through the entire factory, and no one was spared. Where are the guns? Ren Xiaosu thought that the factory manager would definitely not put them in a place where others could easily get them. Ren Xiaosu broke through the glass on the top floor and jumped in. He looked around. The corridor was full of blood and dead bodies. The huge factory had turned into a living hell. However, Ren Xiaosu suddenly realized that something was wrong. All the corpses seemed to be running in the same direction, as if something was guiding them. What would attract people to run in the same direction in a crisis? Ren Xiaosu had his own judgment. That place was either where the weapons were stored or a place to hide. He followed this path all the way down to the basement level. This is an emergency shelter? Ren Xiaosu came to a metal gate. He wondered if there were still people behind this iron gate. Ren Xiaosu thought for a long time. He raised his fist and hit the gate 3 times. At this moment, someone shouted joyfully from behind the iron gate, "Is it the army? You've finally come to save me. I'll open the gate now." But the moment the gate opened, both parties moved. Ren Xiaosu bent down and was about to rush over. But when the middle-aged man saw that it was not the army, his first reaction was to raise his pistol. The air suddenly froze. Ren Xiaosu stopped in front of the middle-aged man because the black muzzle of the pistol was pointed at his forehead. Hee. The middle-aged man laughed and said, "So it's just a petty thief who's here to take advantage of the situation. I recognize you. You're Ren Xiaosu from town." Ren Xiaosu also recognized him. This middle-aged man was the factory manager, Wang Dongyang. "I recognize you too." Ren Xiaosu straightened his back and said nonchalantly. He quickly pressed the button to close the gate. Ren Xiaosu thought he wants to trap me in here. And he noticed the safety on of the pistol. He said, "Why are you the only one inside?" "No, you were the first to escape here and close the gate to keep the others out." When Ren Xiaosu said this, he felt a chill run down his spine. It was no wonder there were bloody handprints on the iron gate outside. So it was the result of the refugees banging on the gate in a frenzy. Wang Dongyang said with a smile, "Don't worry about it. If you carry me back to town now, I'll spare your life." "What if I don't?" Ren Xiaosu also laughed. "You must be afraid that I'll tell others about how you sold everyone out to survive, right?" Ren Xiaosu continued to say with a smile. Wang Dongyang sneered. The pistol had given him great courage, and he was now fearless. "How did you know?" Ren Xiaosu pondered it. No one knows a son better than his father. Wang Dongyang was speechless. The factory manager immediately got angry. "Do you think I won't dare to kill you? I can just kill you and continue waiting for the army. I'm from within the stronghold, so they must save me." "There's one more thing I know," Ren Xiaosu said slowly. "What?" Wang Dongyang had an ominous feeling. "I know that you didn't turn off the safety on this gun, and it's too late for you to do so now." Wang Dongyang stunned for a second. But when he saw Ren Xiaosu, he had rushed over so decisively that he did not even have time to turn off the safety. Ren Xiaosu used his dagger to injure his hand. However, a moment later, he suddenly retreated and tried to use this opportunity to disarm the gun. However, Ren Xiaosu would not give him the chance to do so. He slammed into Wang Dongyang like a cannonball, breaking his ribs and sending his gun flying out of his hand. Having lost his last resort, Wang Dongyang gets support from the wall, coughing up blood, and said, "Let me go, and I'll tell you where my assets are hidden." "Tell me first, and I'll let you go," Ren Xiaosu said calmly. Wang Dongyang thought to himself, "He's still young, I'll drag this on until the private army arrives." Ren Xiaosu said, "Are you trying to buy time? Your lungs have already been punctured by your broken ribs. Even if you return, how much longer can you live? Why don't I make it easier for you?" If this dragged on, it would not end well for him, no matter which side suddenly came to this factory. The sound of a sharp weapon slicing through leather rang out. Ren Xiaosu used the bone knife to imitate the wolf's claw marks on Wang Dongyang's chest and made a wound. Only when he was sure Wang Dongyang was not showing any signs of life did he pick up the pistol and walk out. He also took the 2 magazines Wang Dongyang was carrying with him. Quickly, the rescue team might be here any minute. When Ren Xiaosu left, there was no one left alive in the entire factory. Brother, are you okay? Yan Liuyuan said impatiently when he saw Ren Xiaosu lift the curtain and come in. Brother, you're finally back? You didn't get hurt, right? Ren Xiaosu asked. Yeah. Did anything happen when I was out? Did the private army return yet? Yan Liuyuan said. Some of them returned with the wound. Ren Xiaosu said. Gosh, stop checking. I really didn't get hurt. Yan Liuyuan said. They also brought back the bodies of their comrades along with the wild wolves. I heard the rest of them proceeded to the factory. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, so firearms can scare off wolf packs. Against the private army's weapons, the likelihood of them winning is still too low. Suddenly, a commotion came from outside. It turned out that a squad of 10 people from the private army had rushed back in an off-road vehicle ahead of time. Private army person shouted, all of you, come out? Person asking to private army, what's going on? An officer of private army said, anyone who reports someone who left town tonight will be rewarded generously. Ren Xiaosu lifted the curtain and looked outside. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, why are they here? Before leaving, I made sure to disguise Wang Dongjiang's wounds as wolf claw marks. It's hard for normal people to notice. Did they notice that Wang Dongjiang's pistol was missing? Is that why they're being skeptical? So, they're looking for that pistol. Suddenly, a familiar voice shouted, I know who went out in the middle of the night. The private army officer slowly walked over. Who is it? It's him, Ren Xiaosu. I saw him leave town. With my own eyes, clinic's doctor said while pointed toward him. The officer turned to look at Ren Xiaosu and said, search the shack. With that, his subordinates were about to rush into the shack when Wang Fugui suddenly jumped out and said, hey, wait. He's someone Boss Luo from the stronghold specially instructed me to look after. You can't treat him like that? The officer was taken aback. What do you mean? Wang Fugui said, if you want the details, you can ask Boss Luo yourself. I'm not supposed to talk about it. Boss Luo. The officer was a little surprised. Everyone could tell that he obviously knew the boss named Luo Lan. Furthermore, Luo Lan seemed to be a big shot in the stronghold. The officer thought for a moment and said, even if he's under Boss Luo's wings, I can't let this slide. This is a serious matter. I have to arrest him. I'll personally apologize and explain the situation to Boss Luo tonight. With that, his subordinates rushed straight towards Ren Xiaosu's shack. 2 of them even started searching Ren Xiaosu's body. Yan Liuyuan said to his subordinates that rushed towards Ren Xiaosu's shack, don't come in. Ren Xiaosu shouted, get out of the way. Yan Liuyuan stepped aside. The clinic doctor wore a smile as he observed the scene unfolding before him. And soldiers rushed straight into Ren Xiaosu's shack, started rummaging through it. Yan Liuyuan wish, please don't let them find anything. But after 2 minutes, the officer asked, did you find it? All of the soldiers shook their heads and said, no, there's nothing. This shabby place isn't very large. If there was a pistol hidden here, we would have found it. Officer said, all right. Fall back. Yan Liuyuan breathed a sigh of relief. Ren Xiaosu turned his gaze to clinic doctor, who had been behind him. When clinic doctor saw the fierce look in Ren Xiaosu's eyes, he wet his pants. Next to him, Wang Fugui said with a smile, looks like what I did was unnecessary. You would have been all right. Anyways, Ren Xiaosu turned to look at Wang Fugui and thanked him seriously. Wang Fugui said with a smile, hey, no need to be so polite. If it wasn't for Boss Luo's recognition of you, I would have been too afraid to help you. Ren Xiaosu was taken aback. What does Boss Luo do? Does he know me? Wang Fugui winked and whispered, Boss Luo is the Qing Consortium's representative in Stronghold 113. That medicine of yours. He liked it a lot? Only then did Ren Xiaosu realize, so Wang Fugui sent the black medicine directly into the stronghold. Wang Fugui said with a smile, Boss Luo stated that if you deliver a fixed amount every month on time, he'll ensure your safety outside of the stronghold. Then can you talk to Boss Luo and get us into the stronghold? Ren Xiaosu thought that since Boss Luo had such great authority, it shouldn't be difficult for him to get them into the stronghold, right? Ren Xiaosu thought to himself. Wang Fugui said with a frown, we're unclean people? How can we be allowed inside the stronghold? Plus, if you go inside the stronghold, who will gather medicinal herbs outside. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, right, Boss Luo won't let me inside because he needs me to make the black medicine. Wang Fugui said, if that were possible, I would want to go inside myself. Yan Liuyuan was suddenly gripped by a headache, and he exclaimed, brother, before collapsing to the ground. In a worried tone, Ren Xiaosu cried out, Liuyuan. That night, Yan Liuyuan suddenly had a high fever. Ren Xiaosu sat on the edge of the bed and looked at the dispirited Yan Liuyuan. He sighed and said, you don't have to make a wish for this. Don't make any wishes without my permission in the future, understand? A fever like this can kill you, and thought to himself, Liuyuan made a wish for me again, and was hit by the backlash. Yan Liuyuan forced his eyes open and said weakly, but what if something happens to you? What will I do? Sister Xiao soaked a piece of cloth in water and gently laid it over Yan Liuyuan's forehead in an effort to help lower his fever. Yan Liuyuan said, Sister Xiao, I'm sorry about what happened before. Sister Xiao asked, why are you apologizing to me? Both of you are very bold, unlike your size. However, if your minds were as immature as other children, you wouldn't have lived so long. Yan Liuyuan said, it's mainly because my brother is great. Ren Xiaosu directed his gaze toward Yan Liuyuan and uttered, don't worry, I will make sure you can have a comfortable life. Yan Liuyuan asked, brother, is that you? That's so cringy. Ren Xiaosu said, get lost? The next morning, when Ren Xiaosu went to town to fetch water, Wang Fugui said, whoa, Xiaosu, congratulations. Haven't you heard? Yu Tong got so scared yesterday night that he took some money and ran. He would rather face the dangers of the wilderness than face Ren Xiaosu. You are now the only doctor in town. The stronghold administrators gave you Yu Tong's house. You can move in today. I've got a small gift for you and Liuyuan. Since you're still growing, eat this as a supplement. Ren Xiaosu asked, what's this? Wang Fugui said, you wouldn't know, but this is the bird's nest I've treasured for many years. It's very nutritional. Ren Xiaosu said, bird's nest? I heard Sir Zhang say that bird's nest is made using the saliva of swallows, but I don't think that the saliva is cohesive enough. So it must have used its phlegm. Wang Fugui was speechless. Wang Fugui said, don't give me that, don't be so disgusting. Bloodbird's nest exists too. What do you think they are made of then? Ren Xiaosu pondered it. Phlegm with blood? Don't mind me, I'm just kidding. Wang Fugui said, I'll stop the chit-chat, let's get down to business. You haven't gone to gather herbs for a few days. The black medicine should be running out, right? Ren Xiaosu asked, but you just bought it. Wang Fugui said, where are you looking? I bought it for powerful figures of the stronghold. Stop acting dumb. Without me delivering medicine, could you have gotten a clinic out of nowhere? Ren Xiaosu said, here, it will be for 1,200. Wang Fugui exclaimed it's a deal, and promptly handed over the money to Ren Xiaosu, snatching the medicine in the blink of an eye. In the end, Wang Fugui even thanked him. Voice from the palace rang out in his mind, gratitude from Wang Fugui. +1. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, Wang Fugui is pretty interesting. He thanks me pretty sincerely. Wang Fugui said while moving away, Xiaosu, pack your things quickly and move in. That is a brick house which many people have their eyes on. In the morning, Ren Xiaosu and his sister Xiao packed up their things and went to the clinic. Who would want to live in a shack when they could live in a brick house with bright windows and a clean table? He had it all planned out. Of the 2 rooms in the back, he and Yan Liuyuan would share one room, while his sister Xiao would share the other. Yan Liuyuan said while pointing, brother, look, there is a flag in the middle. Ren Xiaosu felt terrible. A silk banner was hung in the middle of the clinic's wall, Rejuvenation Luolan. Voice from the palace rang out in his mind, remaining mission, treat 10 patients. Do you wish to continue the mission? He said, yes. At this moment, someone behind him said, Doctor. Ren Xiaosu turned around and asked, where are you injured? Let me tell you that you made the right decision in coming here. The man said, that's great. My wife is 4 months pregnant. Today morning, her stomach suddenly started hurting. I was afraid that something had happened, so I came here to have it checked. What are you pregnant with? Pregnant? Ren Xiaosu was petrified. Although he was running a clinic now, he did not know how to treat such illnesses. He thought to himself, this is a little complicated. Ren Zaisu pondered it for a moment. Do you want your wife or your child? The couple are speechless. Ren Zaisu said with a smile, I'm sorry. I'll be honest with you, I'm not an obstetrician. It would be shameful to continue fooling you. You can go to the school building to borrow some books from Mr. Zhang. Don't just randomly eat medicine either. I remember hearing that pregnant women should not eat medicine. You can ask Mr. Zhang about anything else you don't understand. Safe travels. The couple looked at each other. They had not expected Ren Zaisu to say that. The man thought for a moment and said, I feel like you're a little better than the previous doctor. When I fell sick last time, he feared that I wouldn't buy medicine. In the end, I didn't get better, despite taking those medicine. The pregnant lady and man lowered their heads and said thank you. Doctor voice from the palace rang out in his mind. Gratitude from Qinjiajia, +1. Gratitude from Qinjiajia, +1. Ren Zaisu thought to himself, both thanks were from the lady? I didn't think I could get 2 thanks for free, just by speaking honestly. Sigh, from today onwards, I'll treat what I can. And give up on what I can't. Ren Zaisu said, endure it for a bit. Sister Xiao, come and help me. She said, all right. Voice from the palace rang out in his mind, treat patients, 9/10. Patient said, ouch. It hurts? Ren Zaisu said please come back again. He said okay, we will come again. And thought to himself, come back again. Can't this brat say something nice? Ren Zaisu said, make sure your mother drinks plenty of warm water after you return. Both lowered their head and said yes. Voice from the palace rang out in his mind, gratitude from Wang Xiaoming +1. Treat patients, 10/10. Mission completion, 1 strength has been rewarded. Next mission, treat 20 patients. Ren Zaisu thought, I need to treat 20 patients for the next mission. The difficulty has increased. Palace, what are my current strength and agility? Stats? Voice from the palace rang out in his mind, strength 5.5, agility 4. He said that's good. Yan Luyuan asked, brother, why did you treat all of those patients completely? It's all money. Ren Zaisu said, what would I be if I couldn't treat them? Isn't that just worsening the patient's illness? Yan Luyuan said, the previous doctor didn't know how to treat patients, but treated them all the same. Ren Zaisu said, we can't learn from him. Look at how he ended up. Even when something happened, no one would help him. Therefore, we must have a bottom line. Yan Luyuan said angrily, but if something happens to us, would anyone help us either? At the start of the year, many people were hoping for something to happen to us. Ren Zaisu firmly grabbed Yan Luyuan's shoulder, exerting enough pressure to cause him discomfort, and said with a serious expression on his face, Luyuan, remember, don't let past sorrows trouble you. As someone peeked cautiously from behind the door, they addressed the doctor with a call. Ren Zaisu turned his attention in their direction and invited them inside. He said, Doctor, I suddenly developed a strange problem. Please help me check it out. You have to keep it a secret. Ren Zaisu managed to stifle his laughter as he spoke. Say, what illness do you have? I can't treat erection problems. He said, don't spout rubbish. Then he moved back and closed the door, and said, I'll demonstrate it. I hope I don't scare you. Afterward, he patiently gathered some saliva in his mouth and spat it in Ren Zaiu's direction. Following that, a bewildering sphere advanced toward Ren Zaiu, rendering him momentarily speechless. It then detonated, unleashing a force that pushed Ren Zaiu backward, causing Yan Luyuan to fall due to the sudden impact. Yan Luyuan said worriedly, brother, are you alright? Ren Zaiu thought to himself, the force wasn't great, but that certainly isn't something normal saliva can do, and said, I don't think you're ill, I think you have some supernatural ability. He asked, supernatural ability? Similar to those people who can materially train from thin air and stuff? I've also awakened a supernatural ability? Then he lowered his head and said, thank you, doctor. I will go back and tell my parents. Voice from the palace rang out, gratitude from Zhang Baogen +1. At night, Ren Zaiu thought to himself, supernaturals have started appearing in this small town. Is this era undergoing huge changes? The world is becoming increasingly dangerous. I have the palace too. I collected quite a few gratitude points today. I hope I can unlock the weapon soon. He heard someone suddenly jump up from outside the wall and grab onto it with both hands. Following that, These persons propped themselves up with both hands and jumped into the courtyard. These person looked around at the ground and happened to see Renzayasu sizing him up curiously. Renzayasu said, "Hello, brothers." The next moment, he saw Renzayasu suddenly lower his knee and retract his leg. It went straight for the front uninvited guest's crotch. The uninvited guest wanted to dodge. What he didn't expect was that Renzayasu's speed was much faster than he had imagined. The uninvited guest lost his balance and fell to the ground in pain. He covered his crotch and cried out in pain. He said to other two persons, "Get him! Don't let your guard down! Kill him!" In the next moment, these two figures jumped to attack Renzayasu. He effortlessly handled both of them. Two more people rolled around on the ground. Renzayasu frowned. These people's skills were still passable, but not a single one of them could even last a round against him. Then both of them requested, "Good lad, please spare us. Please spare us." Renzayasu asked, "Who sent you?" There was a knock on the door. A familiar voice said, "Open the door. Right now." Renzayasu remembered this voice. It belonged to the officer who had led the private troops to search the entire town. More people? It's the middle of the night. Aren't they supposed to be sleeping? Just as he was about to instruct his subordinates to kick down the door, the clinic's door opened by itself. Officer said, "This is an ordered search." Immediately after, all of the soldiers outside fell into a daze. Soldiers saying to each other, "What is that? Is he wearing a flag?" They saw a large silk banner wrapped around Renzayasu's body. The banner had the words "Magic Hands, Luolan" written on it. Renzayasu said, "Why have you come so late at night?" Soldier continued by saying, "Is he mentally ill?" Renzayasu thought to himself, "I hope they won't continue searching after seeing Luo Ian's flag." The officer was silent for a moment before laughing out of anger. What was that? A silk banner protecting him? And order his soldiers to search. Renzayasu said, "Didn't you already search the house?" Officer said, "That's in the past. We might find something this time." Officer said, "All of you are trash. I sent you here to search for guns, but not only did you fail to find guns, you also got tied up." He turned around and looked at Renzayasu and said, "My name is Wang Kongyang. If you're going to complain to Boss Luo, you can say my name." Renzayasu put on a fake smile and said, "I'm not that petty. You didn't do anything much anyways." And thought to himself, "Wait, Wang Kongyang? Could he be related to Wang Dongyang? If that's the case, will he forgive me easily?" Wang Kongyang carefully sized up Renzayasu. After a few minutes of searching, his subordinates came back and reported, "We didn't find anything. No firearms have been found." Wang Kongyang said, "I will keep searching until the firearm thief has been caught. You should be careful, brat. Order the soldiers to, let's go." Back to what I was saying, it would have been great if you were born in the stronghold. Come and be a soldier under me. You'd be way better than these idiots. Renzayasu thought to himself, "I'm lucky I hid the guns in the mountains when I was gathering medicine a few days ago. They really pulled out the big guns this time. I was caught off guard." The next day, at dawn, some person shouted outside, "Everyone, look! The band has returned." Lu Yuan asked, "Didn't they leave around a week ago? Why did they return so soon?" Renzayasu said, "Hasn't it only been just a week or so? Look, they left looking all neat and tidy, but now, every single one of them is in a miserable state." And Renzayasu thought to himself, "Around a week. They probably didn't even reach the foot of the Jing Mountains. The only threats on the road would be the wolf pack." But the wolf pack only came a while after they left. What did they encounter, then? Speaking of which, just by looking at the state of their clothes, I can tell that the girl with perfect firearms proficiency is indeed much stronger than the others. Lu Yuan asked, "Brother, are they looking for old Wang?" Renzayasu replied by saying, "They should be out to get him. The guide he recommended didn't return with them. Something must have happened along the way." The girl said, "What kind of guide did you get us? He made us waste 3 days doing nothing, and he still messed up the directions?" Wang Fugui asked, "And then? Where is he?" She replied by saying, "I don't know, he was chewed to a pulp by something in the river. When we found him, his body was already cold." While hearing this, Renzayasu thought to himself, "River? The river outside the city? I haven't heard about something being there." Wang Fugui said, I told you if you want to go to the Jing Mountains, you need Ren Zaiu's help, but you didn't believe me. However, he doesn't have the time to guide you now. Both of us have to work for Boss Luo. She asked, you know Boss Luo? He's the brat that prayed for safety for the father and son? Wang Fugui said, yes, that's him. She asked, is he the only one who can take us across the Jing Mountains? Wang Fugui said, that's right. She said, all right. Let's go. We're returning to the stronghold? Wang Fugui said. They finally left. Wang Fugui noticed Ren Zaiu and started walking toward him, and said, Zaiu, I helped you chase the band away this time. Shouldn't you thank me properly? You still haven't forgiven me? I recommended you with good intentions. Ren Zaiu asked, how about you go? I'll draw out the route for you, so take them there. You'll be able to enter the sheltered stronghold. Wang Fugui replied by saying, I don't have your skill set. Besides, what will be of my son if I enter? Ren Zaiu said, you may have a son, but I have Liu Yuan and sister Xiao. If you dare to recommend me again, I'll have Li Yuan and sister Xiao eat you alive. Wang Fugui said, it's really for your own good? If I were 20 years younger, I'd really have gone. Ren Zaiu said, for my own good? Then I thank your whole family. Wang Fugui replied by saying, I thank 8 generations of your ancestors. At the moment, voice from the palace rang out in his mind. Gratitude from Wang Fugui +1. Then both of them hear the shouting of someone, saying, what are you doing? Why did you grab me? Let go of me. Ren Zaiu asked, what are they doing? Wang Fugui replied by saying, I don't know. Ren Zaiu thought to himself, did they find out about his ability to blow bubbles? Zhang Baozhen said, why did you grab me? Let go of me? Let go of me now? Soldier said, everyone back off. Wang Fugui asked, officers, what's going on? Although he is slightly mischievous, he didn't commit any grave crimes, right? Soldier pointed his gun and shouted, get lost? Ren Zaiu thought to himself, why did they capture Zhang Baozhen? It wouldn't be related to his superpower, right? Wang Fugui said, he's done for. That child is done for. Ren Zaiu asked, why do you say that? Wang Fugui said, I heard that last night, the brat revealed his supernatural ability, but his backstabbing friends reported him. Each stronghold is hunting for people with supernatural abilities. They might pose a threat. Wang Fugui asked, let me ask you this. If you were afraid of someone, what would you do? Ren Zaiu said, I will kill him. Wang Fugui replied by saying, sigh. It's not as simple as you think. I heard that they established a mental hospital inside, one made specifically to imprison supernatural ability users. They will even use various devices to examine them. Zaiu, if you and Liu Yuan get a supernatural ability, you must not let those around you know, no matter what. Ren Zaiu said, all right. People shouting this is bad. It's murder? It's a murder. Baozhen father said, this is for selling Baozhen out, you loudmouth. When have we wronged you? Baozhen mother said. Baozhen left. And, now his father you're gone too. How am I supposed to keep living? She cut her neck with bone blade. People saying to each other, sigh, that brat Baozhen was an only child. After something happened to him, both his parents could no longer live on. He had to show off. He just had a little supernatural ability. What's there to be proud of? If his father was really tough, why didn't he kill his way into the stronghold? What's the point in killing the snitches? Wang Fugui shouted, what's with the sarcasm? Ren Zaiu said, what a shitty society. Ren Zaiu said, sir, I want to teach the students how to fight people today. Mr. Zhang replied by saying, all these years, I have been teaching them how to face the natural environment, because I didn't want them to see their own kind as the enemy. I already know what happened today. Why wouldn't the misfortune of others be our misfortune? If you want to talk, go ahead. Ren Zaiu moved towards classroom. Some students are gathered around Liu Yuan, and he thought to himself, what are they doing? Was Liu Yuan's supernatural ability discovered? She said, Liu Yuan, tell your brother not to drag the lesson out, or I will complain to Mr. Zhang. Liu Yuan replied by saying, if he listened to what I said, he would have stopped dragging the lesson out long ago. She asked, a relief teacher like your brother is putting in so much effort? What, is he trying to take over the school? Ren Zaiu, I thought something big had happened. These youngsters were just unhappy because I dragged lessons out. Lu Yuan shouted, all of the facts my brother taught you could save your life? Yet you not only fail to thank him, but even talk about him like that? She said, I understand if you don't want to tell him, but did you have to act so fiercely? Lu Yuan asked, why are you looking at me? He said, nothing much. I noticed that you seemed unhappy. Right, let me tell you. Yesterday night, I dreamt that my father found me a stepmother who treated me horribly. Lu Yuan replied by saying, don't worry, dreams are the opposite of reality. He said, yes, I thought so too. Don't be grumpy. I don't think our classmates did it on purpose. It's really because. Lu Yuan cut what he's saying and said, I think he might have found you a stepfather. He was speechless after hearing Lu Yuan. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, my Lu Yuan has grown up well. And said, ahem. Class has started. Do you know what the weakest parts of the human body are? Students replies by saying, I don't know. Ren Xiaosu said, then I will start with the one everyone is most familiar with, the neck. The human neck contains around 20 cartilages. No matter which one is hit, the opponent will instantly lose the ability to fight. Time's up. Class dismissed. Students saying while running, thank you, teacher. We're dismissed. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, can't these youngsters understand my goodwill? Sigh, I hope that they will never have to use this knowledge in this life. Wang Fugui said, Xiaosu, pack your things right now. Someone sent me a letter saying that Boss Luo agreed to let you guide the band. You'll have to go to the Jing Mountains this time. Hurry and prepare. The band will be here soon. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, the band managed to convince Boss Luo? Did they give Boss Luo enough benefits, or was Boss Luo behind the Jing Mountains expedition all along? No matter what, the band certainly has a goal that's more obscure and important. Wang Fugui asked, hey, where are you going? Ren Xiaosu replied by saying, I am going to discuss something with Mr. Zhang. And thought to himself, it can't be helped. I will have to make the trip to the Jing Mountains. Ren Xiaosu said, Mr. Zhang, I'm going to the Jing Mountains. Mr. Zhang asked, do you have to go? Ren Xiaosu said, you saw Zhang Baogen's end too. Both of our lives are in the stronghold's hands. If I reject them, I might have trouble staying in this town from now on. Mr. Zhang said, while you're not here, let Lu Yuan and the others live in the school. Ren Xiaosu said, thank you, Mr. Zhang. He replied by saying, take care. Lu Yuan asked, can you not go to the Jing Mountains? Ren Xiaosu said, don't worry, I will return. Sister Xiao, keep this money well. Remember to buy Mr. Zhang some cigarettes as rent. And thought to himself, I must not leave money with Lu Yuan. If Sister Xiao gets greedy for the money, at worst, she would just take the money and run away. Lu Yuan won't get hurt. Although it's a little unfair to think this of Sister Xiao, this is the best decision right now. After all, in this wasteland, even your loved ones would turn their backs on you for their own benefit. Sister Xiao said with a smile, I understand what you mean. I will keep it for you. Don't worry, go and return safely. Ren Xiaosu said, all right. Then someone knocked the door. Voice from the palace rang out in his mind, mission, declined the offer to participate in the journey to the Jing Mountains. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, what is this? The palace doesn't want me to head to the Jing Mountains. Is there really some danger? She said, you know everything already. Right? Come with us. Ren Xiaosu started his act again. My father's father is my paternal grandfather. My father's mother is my paternal grandmother. She is speechless. And asked, how mentally deranged is this guy? Officer Wang said, stop pretending. We've met before. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, Wang Kongyang? Looks like I won't be able to fool them. With that bastard here, I might have to go. Even if I don't want to. And said, I'm not going. Voice from the palace rang out in his mind saying, mission complete. You have received a basic skill, duplication scroll as a reward. It can be used to learn others' abilities. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, the mission has been completed. Officer Wang asked, how can you refuse to? Ren Xiaosu said, I'll go. I can go, but I have a few conditions. I want a fee of $30,000. She replied by saying, no, $10,000. Ren Xiaosu said, fine. Then, I want an additional 10 bags of salt, 10 cigarettes, 100 kilograms of rice and she said. Enough, stop talking. I'll give you 30,000. Ren Xiaosu said, all right. I have another condition. If you want me to go, Wang Kongyang can't come along. Officer Wang said, looking toward Ren Xiaosu angrily. Interesting. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, for Wang Dongyang, Wang Kongyang searched me twice. If he comes along with us on the journey to the Jing Mountains, he might cause some fiasco. She said, fine. Wang Kongyang, you don't need to come anymore. Officer Wang said in surprised, what? She asked, now can we leave? Ren Xiaosu replied by saying, wait. We will all be teammates from now on, but I still don't know your names? She said, we won't become teammates with wanderers. You're just a guide, so there's no need to get too close. The individual standing at the back of the group introduced themselves as Sun Junzhen. The person in front of him stated, I go by the name Cheng Donghang. She followed, saying, I am known as Singer, Luo Xinyu. The person in front of her revealed, I hold the position of the second lieutenant within the field service division, and my name is Su Xianshu. She said my name is Yang Xiajin. Can we set off now? Ren Xiaosu replied by saying, sure. Ren Xiaosu said, goodbye, to both Lu Yuan and Sister Xiao. She said, don't worry, Lu Yuan. He will definitely return safely. The road to the Jing Mountains was not easy to travel on. Most of the roads were dirt roads. Sometimes, Ren Xiaosu could see cement roads occasionally appearing on the ground as he sat in the back of the truck. However, those roads had been shattered for some reason and had become dilapidated. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, Mr. Zhang told me that there used to be roads made of concrete before the cataclysm struck. It seems like there are still traces of concrete left. I wonder what the roads were like back then. Speaking of which, the plants have been flourishing recently. Even Mr. Zhang's cabbages have grown much taller. That's good. Perhaps, a single potato would be large enough to feed a family of 3 in the future. These people aren't even taking a break for a bite. When Lu Buletin asked Ren Xiaosu to sit in the back of the pickup, he probably did not expect Ren Xiaosu to do something like that. The back of the truck was filled with food and water that they had brought out of the stronghold. There was no need to lock it as it was only wrapped in tarpaulin. Sitting in the back of the truck, Ren Xiaosu lifted the tarpaulin out of curiosity and saw the word crackers. Then he lifted the other tarpaulin and saw bottled water. Due to the bumpy roads, the car did not go very fast. Therefore, what the team was most worried about was what to do if their cars broke down. Half of the soldiers from the private army had learned how to repair cars, but it was impossible for them to bring a full set of spare parts with them on the road. Although the journey was slow, it was still better than walking. The convoy continued driving. When it came to a stop in the afternoon, Lu Buletin was the first to jump out of the vehicle. He said, we'll be setting up camp here for today. Everyone, eat something and get some rest. Come with me. I'll distribute some food and water. As Lu Buletin walked towards the pickup, he said to the band member beside him, disperse the cigarettes we brought with us to these soldiers later. All right, how many do you want to give them? The band member asked. Let's give them 1 pack first. Didn't we bring 10 packs with us? We can slowly give them to them. Lu Buletin said with a smile, now that we have new faces, it'll be easier to get along after a few days. At this moment, Lu Buletin arrived at the back of the pickup. But when he turned around, he was shocked. Damn, Ren Xiaosu, what are you doing? Ren Xiaosu said, there's no need to make such a fuss. It's not like I did anything bad. Lu Buletin asked, are you a pig? How are you able to eat so much? We've just departed, and you've already eaten packets of 5 crackers. Get him down? If he continues to eat like that, we won't be able to make it to Stronghold 112. The band member holding the Ren Xiaosu said, Xinyu, we can still go back. Shouldn't we get a new guide? Lu Buletin said, Xinyu, we better go back and get a new guide. Xinyu replied by saying, Wang Fugui said that he's the only one who can lead us through the mountains. It's fine, if you're biased against him, but don't let it delay our journey. Once we return from Stronghold 112, you can do whatever you want with him. Lu Buletin said. All right. Band members saying to each other, one said, I can't believe he's the one who's going to lead us through the mountains. He can't even set up a tent. Other said, let's see how many days he can last. The other guide we had last time died around here. Ren Xiaosu asked, so, I ate a few of your crackers. What's all the fuss? Band member said, was that a few? I'm warning you, no matter what you do, you'll just be a refuge, got that? Don't hit a stone with an egg? Ren Xiaosu asked. You know what breaks when an egg hits a stone? Band member said, the egg. Ren Xiaosu replied by saying, no. Band member asked, what breaks then? Ren Xiaosu said, the mother hen's heart. And Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, was she looking at me just now? Band member shouted, there are beast footprints here. And he stunned for a moment. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, by right, very few wild beasts live around the forest's edge. What creature could it possibly be? One of the band members said, these footprints weren't here the last time we were here, right? Other members said, no, and asked Ren Xiaosu, what are you looking at? Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, a deer's footprints have freaked them out this much? It's a bad habit to not clean up your food remnants in the wild. Ren Xiaosu said, everyone, get out of the way. Let me take a closer look. Lu Buledin said, watch it, bastard. Ren Xiaosu said, these are bear footprints. The bear was lured here by the food remnants you left behind last time. Band member said, you're messing with us. Do you actually think I can't recognize bear footprints? Ren Xiaosu replied by saying, it could also be a wild boar. Lu Buledin asked, hey, why are you trying to enter the forest? Ren Xiaosu said, since you won't let me eat the crackers, I am going in to look for food myself. Is that not allowed? Lu Buledin said, I'm reminding you. The guide we had last time also died somewhere around here. Don't die here like him and delay our time. Ren Xiaosu replied by saying, all the better then. I can go see how he died. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, according to what Lu Buledin said, the previous guide went to the river to wash his face. Something in the river ended up mangling his face. He died instantly. I need to prepare carefully. Large animals usually appear around water sources. If I follow the huge deer's footprints, I should be able to arrive at the side of the river where the previous guide died. There doesn't appear to be anything special about the water. Not surprisingly, the thing that attacked the previous guide was probably a fish that was lurking underwater. I'm afraid he, like most of the people in the town, was unaware that most freshwater fishes are carnivorous. Ren Xiaosu said, a termite nest. It looks like it's time to eat fish. After walking for a short while, Ren Xiaosu is at termite nest. He stabbed the termite nest with a bone knife for a long time until he found the white and plump termite queen and took it with him. The queen termite and this termite nest are excellent bait for fish. I need to put them to good use. Then, he used a bone knife to cut open the palm-sized queen ant and threw it into the river. Then, he held up the peeled branch and waited patiently. The moonlight was especially bright that night. Otherwise, Ren Xiaosu might not have been able to see what was in the river. The queen and the termite nest slowly floated downstream, and Ren Xiaosu slowly followed them from the shore. Suddenly, a black shadow swam under the termite nest, and the water rippled. At the same time, a big fish opened its mouth, trying to swallow the termite nest and the queen. But just as it opened its mouth, Ren Xiaosu's peeled branch was already there. Ren Xiaosu had used this method to catch fish before, but at that time, his speed and strength were far inferior, so he only succeeded once after many tries. But now, it was different. He used to be slower than the fish, but now he was faster than it. Ren Xiaosu retracted the branch at lightning speed. The large black fish kept struggling on the branch, but it was to no avail. Ren Xiaosu cautiously moved away from the riverbank. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, I need to leave now. The scent of blood appears to be attracting some scary things. But now, while they were making do with canned luncheon meat in the wilderness, the aroma of Ren Xiaosu's grilled fish wafted over. Band member asked, what's that smell? When Lu Buledin smelled the aroma of the grilled fish, he wrinkled his nose. It smells nice. It's just one fish. Ren Xiaosu had only brought a metal cup, a bone knife, and a box of matches with him this time. These were necessities for surviving in the wilderness. Suddenly, Ren Xiaosu heard the voice from the palace in his mind say, Quest, good things should be shared with others. Ren Xiaosu was stunned for a long time. He picked up the branch from which the fish was stuck and walked over to Lu Buledin. His eyes lit up and he said in a reserved manner, What? You want to share the fish with us? Well, if you insist. What are you thinking? Ren Xiaosu said, I just wanted you to take a look at it. I am sharing my happiness. Lu Buletin was speechless. Ren Xiaosu heard the voice from the palace in his mind say, quest complete. Awarded 1.0 dexterity. Ren Xiaosu said, sharing with you isn't impossible. I'll give you half in exchange for 3 bottles of water. Lu Buletin said, deal. Come over. We're eating fish. Hey, slow down. Leave some for us. At this moment, Ren Xiaosu was sitting alone next to the fire he had started, while the others were gathered around a large campfire. The two of them were like people from 2 different worlds, and there was a clear distinction between them. But all of a sudden, the girl wearing the cap, Ying Xiaojin, stood up and sat across from Ren Xiaosu. She said calmly, fish. To Ren Xiaosu's surprise, her tone was unbelievably calm. However, he did not know what reason to reject her. However, the girl aimed the gun she held at Ren Xiaosu. He heard the voice from the palace in his mind say, weapon, M9. Structure, simple and durable. Weight, 0.96 kilograms. Material, constructed entirely out of lead alloys. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, if you want to eat, then why didn't you just say so? I feel a teeny bit flustered when a master of firearms with perfect firearms proficiency is pointing their gun at me. In the past, Ren Xiaosu had never robbed anyone before, but he had never been robbed before either. This was the first time in his life. I'll let you have 2 bites, just 2 bites. Ren Xiaosu said stubbornly. Then Luo Xinyu arrived. Ying Xiaojin said, 2 bites for each of us. Xinyu said no more. Just 2 bites. I won't eat your food for free. Here, this is chocolate. I'll let you have 2 bites. Ren Xiaosu took the chocolate and tore off the wrapper. Then he opened his mouth as wide as he could and stuffed all of the chocolate into his mouth in one go. Luo Xinyu was dumbfounded. Even Ying Xiaojin looked at Ren Xiaosu in a daze. After Ren Xiaosu slowly finished chewing the chocolate in his mouth, he thought for a moment and said to Luo Xinyu, you still owe me a bite. Luo Xinyu and Ying Xiaojin was speechless. Luo Xinyu said, wait. I'll go get some more. Ying Xiaojin took out a small salt shaker from the pocket of her sportswear. She held a black pistol in one hand and sprinkled salt on the fish with the other. She did not stand on ceremony with Ren Xiaosu at all. Ren Xiaosu thought to himself, are all the girls in the stronghold as pretty as her? At this moment, Ren Xiaosu turned around to look at Ying Xiaojin. He saw that Ying Xiaojin had also opened her mouth wide and nearly finished a quarter of the fish in one bite. Ren Xiaosu was shocked. You're a girl. Can't you be a little more reserved? For the latest manga recaps and exclusive insights, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Your likes, comments, and shares help us create even more fantastic content. Join our vibrant community of manga enthusiasts.